Welcome to this explainer. Today we're looking at CPF top-ups, OA versus SA versus MA, and maximizing your money and tax relief. All right, let's just dive right in. We are tackling one of the most common, yet surprisingly tricky, financial dilemmas you might face when managing your CPF retirement cash. We need to figure out exactly where to put your extra money to make it work the absolute hardest for you. So, we're going to break down your CPF accounts, the Ordinary Account, the Special Account, and the MediSave Account to see exactly how you can maximize both your growth and your tax relief.
So, picture this. It's a very real-world problem for a lot of us. You work hard. You've managed to set aside a little extra cash, let's say $8,000 to put towards your future this year. It's sitting in your pocket right now, ready to go. But where exactly should it go? Because not all accounts are created equal. They've got different interest rates, entirely different rules around when you can actually touch the funds, and drastically different tax benefits. And honestly, if you guess wrong, your money simply isn't working as hard as you are.
Well, first things first, we really need to look at the rates. The Ordinary Account, or OA, is kind of what I like to call the lazy account when it comes to interest. It earns a base rate of 2.5%. Now, don't get me wrong, it's great if you need it for housing or education, but for pure growth, it definitely lags. On the flip side, you have the Special Account, the SA. Earning a rock-solid guaranteed 4%, this is your hard-working account that's totally dedicated to retirement. For most people trying to build real wealth, the SA is the clear, undisputed winner.
Now you might be thinking, okay, a 1.5% difference in interest. Big deal. It sounds completely negligible at first glance, right? But check out the math here. If you park $50,000 in your OA at 2.5% and just leave it for 20 years, it grows to roughly $80,000. But if you take that exact same 50 grand and put it into your SA at 4% for 20 years, it literally explodes to about $110,000.
Guys, that is a massive $28,000 difference. Just think about that for a second. This extra $28,000 is generated from the exact same starting amount. You didn't put in a single extra dime, and you didn't have to work an extra shift. You simply pick the right account and let the magic of compounding do the heavy lifting over time. The earlier you get your money into the SSA, the longer this gap works in your favor.
But wait, it actually gets better. Seriously, because aside from that killer interest rate, making cash top-ups to your special account before age 55 qualifies you for income tax relief under the Retirement Sum Topping Up Scheme, the RSTU, and the maximum combined annual tax relief you can grab, a whopping $16,000.
Let's break down exactly how you hit that $16K maximum. You can claim up to $8,000 in tax relief per year just for topping up your own account. Boom, easy. On top of that, you can claim an additional $8,000 in tax relief per year if you top up the accounts of family members. So we're talking parents, your spouse, your siblings. But, and this is important, keep in mind that the family cap is a shared total across all your relatives combined. You can't claim $8K for your mom and then another $8K for your spouse. It's an $8,000 maximum for the entire family category as a whole.
Now, because of these immediate tax savings, the actual out-of-pocket cost for your top-up is way lower than the face value. If you're sitting at a 15% marginal tax rate, maxing out your personal $8,000 top-up instantly saves you $1,200 in income tax for the year. And if you're a high earner, up in the 22% tier, you are saving $1,760. You are essentially buying your retirement savings at a steep discount.
And this brilliantly shows what happens when we combine these two superpowers, the higher interest rate and those sweet tax savings over time. Let's look at a 15-year scenario where you're topping up $8,000 a year starting at age 40. In scenario A, you toss it in the OA. By age 55, you're sitting on about $141,000. But in scenario B, you put it in the SA as a cash top-up. Not only do you hit approximately $167,000 by age 55,
but you also saved $1,200 a year in taxes, which totals $18,000 in tax savings over those 15 years. So between the extra $26,000 in interest you earned and the $18,000 you saved in taxes, you walk away roughly $44,000 richer overall. I mean, wow, that is the true power of the special account mathematically working in your favor. Okay, I do need to pump the brakes for a second and provide a crucial reality check here. Before you throw every spare cent into your SSA, you've got to remember its limitations. SSA funds absolutely cannot be used for housing down payments, mortgages, or education. So, if you are planning to buy an HDB flat in the near term, preserving your OA balance is an absolute must. Your OA is your most flexible asset for snagging that first home.
You also really need to be aware of the rules around internal transfers. You do have the option to shift idle money from your OA directly over to your SA just to upgrade your interest rate from 2.5 to 4%. However, huge caution sign here. This move is strictly one way and totally irreversible. Once that money moves to your SA, you cannot undo it. Also, because this is just an internal transfer and not fresh cash from your pocket, it does not grant you any income tax relief whatsoever.
All right, moving on to the MediSave exception. When does MA beat SA? Now you might be wondering, doesn't the MediSave account, the MA, also earn 4% interest and offer tax deductions? Yes, it absolutely does. So when does topping up the MA actually make more sense than the SA?
Well, it all comes down to this magic number right here, $79,000. That is the 2026 basic healthcare sum, and it acts as a hard cap. Unlike the SAA, you cannot just accumulate money indefinitely in your MediSave. Once your MA hits that $79,000 limit, any further top-ups will automatically spill over to your other accounts, meaning they provide zero extra compounding benefit in the MA itself.
So, what is the most logical way to sequence your extra cash? Let's keep it super simple. Here is your crystal clear 3-step practical priority list. Step 1. Top up your SA first to get that money compounding at 4% as early as humanly possible. Step 2. Once you've handled the SA, top up your MA, but only if your balance is below that $79,000 cap. And Step 3. Leave whatever is in your OA strictly for your housing plans.
Okay, let's bring everything we just discussed together into a quick decision framework. Seriously, grab a screenshot of this right now. If you're under 55 with no property plans, top up the SA first. If a property purchase is coming up in the next 1 to 3 years, hold off, preserve that OA. Are you a high earner paying over 22% in taxes? Definitely maximize that $8,000 SA top-up to slash your tax bill. And hey, if you've already hit your full retirement sum of $220,400, you'll need to look at topping up your retirement account, your RA, directly. If you're older, maybe consider the supplementary retirement scheme. This single matrix basically solves 90% of real-world use cases.
Ultimately, the whole game here is efficient wealth building. If you combine that 4% guaranteed rate with the immediate tax relief, the SCA really is the undisputed winner. The math simply does not lie. For the vast majority of us who don't have near-term housing expenses on the horizon, leveraging the special account is just the smartest, most mathematically sound move you can make with your extra savings. So, I want to leave you with this final thought. Take a look at your own balances. How much closer to your full retirement sum could you be this year if you optimize just this one single decision? Go run your numbers through the CPF calculator, take a really hard look at your timeline, and make the choice that gets your money working its absolute hardest for you. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I will catch you next time.